What the going on this team, Jerry?
Bury him! Bury him!
Jerry, TJ Watt.
He is the best defensive player on the planet.
Go! Yes! Yes! We're going to fire! Steelers fans! Bang! Run it down their throat!
No! That's not a penalty!
Game over! Game over! Don't ask me to do nothing! This is nothing!
He's aggressive.
Hello. Welcome back to another episode of the Steel Here podcast, where I'm your host, Kevin Adams, alongside my partner in crime, Jersey, Jerry. Jerry Don, this Pittsburgh Steelers football team, like this is what we bitch about every week. This team can beat anybody. This team can lose to anybody. They can play great football. They can play terrible football. Today we were on the receiving end of an incredible performance. I felt like out of both the defense, mostly the defense, somewhat the offense felt anemic, but all in all, Jerry, we go to 6-4. We're still in first place in the AFC North, so it's hard to complain or bitch. But I mean, you look at Rodgers, he has a fractured wrist. Who knows what this rest of the season is going to look like if you can't get him back anytime soon.
Yeah, dude, I felt like the defense stepped up big time today. Couple touchdowns on their end, which was amazing, incredible. Yep. Up until that point, did we have a defensive touchdown all year up until today?
I don't think.
I don't think so either. Yeah, so we get 2 today. That's big. Win the turnover battle. We won the game. Seems like if we can get some turnovers, we win these games. You know, I think that's the big takeaway from this season so far. If we could turn the ball over and get turnovers, we win games. So as long as we do that, keep doing that, we're gonna win some games. You know, we still, I want to see what it looks like without the turnovers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, let's see how we do. If we don't get any turnovers, see if we can win that game. But I'll tell you what, I'll take it. Big win for the Steelers, 7-4 now.
Yep, 6-4.
6-4. Sorry, 6-4. Yep. Ravens, man. We'll get to the Steelers. The Ravens, man, they should have lost that game.
I think they might be a little bit overrated. Now, I get it. It's a division game. Browns always play the Ravens pretty tight. Browns have a very good defense. Not when we played them, but they do have a pretty good defense overall. Myles Garrett's having an incredible season. Again, great season he's putting together. The Ravens have their warts. Like, they have their warts. You're going to get – I just don't think they're good enough to – everyone wants to crown them. They're going to run the table or at least win, 7 of their last 8 games, win the AFC North. Steelers are pretty much dead in the water as far as winning the AFC North. While I still have my doubts about the Steelers winning the AFC North. And I still, if I were a betting man, I would still probably pick the Ravens the way that it stands right now.
Yeah.
But I can see a path to where the Steelers can take it to Week 18 at Heinz Field, Acrisure Stadium, and that is for the division because the Ravens are going to choke up. I mean, I don't think it's sustainable for them to just play football the way that they play, so hot and cold. They're a very streaky team as well. I don't think that they can sustain that through the next 8 games.
Yeah, no, I just think the Browns dominated that game. I mean, they dominated it for the most part, and then just, a couple of bad breaks late, and Ravens get the dub. But enough of the Ravens, man. Defense was the story for this game. Offense, man, I don't got much to say about them. Not the best performance from the offensive side of the ball. Gainwell had a great game. I'll say that. Gainwell stepped up big time. What's the status of Jaylen Warren with that? I know he got hurt late in the game.
I guess it's ankle. I don't think it's that terrible.
Okay.
It feels like more like he tweaked his ankle. It didn't look terrible. We'll say that. And there were no reports that came out since then that sounds like it's that bad. But
Steelers were probably just up a bunch. They didn't want to put him back in.
Yeah, why risk it? Yeah. And I feel like that's what ultimately was the same thing with Rodgers because they said Rodgers wanted to come back in with the fractured wrist, and they held him out and put Mason Rudolph in there. But it opens up the door, and Twitter was in a frenzy about this for the last 7 hours since that game ended.
Yep.
Is Mason Rudolph a better option for the Steelers than Aaron Rodgers, Jerry?
Yeah, well, before I answer that, I will say this. Tomlin is, no matter what happens next game, no matter if Mason plays lights out 4 or 5 touchdown passes against the Bears, then the following week, if Rodgers isn't healthy, throws another 4 or 5.
Yep.
Rodgers is not getting benched. Tomlin is not benching Rodgers.
Agreed.
I will say this. We did move the ball a lot better with Mason Rudolph back there. We did.
Did they though? So I want to say yes. It felt like the offense had more movement. They obviously scored the same amount of points. I think they each scored I want to say 10 points. You know, the defense puts up 14 points between the Duggar pick 6 and then the scoop and score James Pierre. But I think they each scored 10 points. So I don't want to say that it was, you know, wildly different from a point differential. Rodgers goes down the field on his opening drive. They looked good. You know, they marched on the field. They scored the touchdown on the opening drive. Mm-hmm. He doesn't really do much after that point, though. You know, I felt like Aaron Rodgers yet again today, I felt like was having a bad game until the injury came in. Yeah. Now, the stats look a little bit different. It doesn't look like he had, I want to say he was like, he threw 6 incompletions. I want to say he had the touchdown, 100 and some yards. But I feel like what you're seeing out of Rodgers these last few weeks, and I would say at portions of the Colts game, and especially in the game against the Chargers, and then again in the first half today before the injury, he looks skittish. He looks skittish in the pocket. He has dancy feet. You know, he's not staying in the pocket, and I'm sure it's because he's worried about the pass rush getting home, you know, given that the offensive line hasn't exactly been the best at points in the season. But you can definitely tell he does not look comfortable in the pocket, and he's missing throws. A guy that is normally his whole career been an incredibly accurate passer. I feel like he's holding onto the ball longer than he should. He's not throwing it away. He's taking sacks. I feel like normally he would be better about throwing it away. But he just doesn't look right to me. And I don't know what it is. If it's that injury they said that came up before the Colts game. Remember, he injured his hand before the Colts game, but he just doesn't look as sharp as he has.
No, he doesn't. Last couple of weeks have been, you know, really not good showings for him. Right. Beginning of the year, he looked a lot different. You know, he looked sharp, and maybe it's that, you know, that's getting deeper into the season now. You know, these hits are starting to add up.
Yep.
You know, he is 41. He's not going to want to keep getting hit like this. There was a couple times today, you know, we talked on the phone earlier. It looked like he didn't want to get up from some of these hits today. He was getting cracked.
Yep.
So maybe that's just him, you know, just from all the shots, you know, just from all getting hit, you know, and he knows he has to get the ball out, and then some plays he holds on to it, you know, trying to extend a play. But yeah, he hasn't looked himself, man. You know, the last couple of weeks have been rough for him. And I just hope this is not one of those Russie years.
So that's part of the fear. Like I mentioned it, I think it was last episode or the episode before where we compared the stats between Rodgers and Russ. And ultimately Russ, you know, had more yards. Rodgers has more touchdowns, but the stats look the same across the board.
Yeah.
My fear, and I feel like this is valid after a few weeks. Originally, I'm like, it's one bad game for Rodgers, and then he doesn't play well against a bad defense today in the Bengals. In my opinion, I just didn't think he was great. Are the wheels going to fall off of that thing? So when people are like, I think you play Mason Rudolph. I want to say one thing about that. While Rudolph, it felt like played better and moved the offense better, and they had 120 yards of yak. So the players made more plays than I would say Rudolph pushing the ball downfield.
Yeah.
There were a lot of balls that he would throw at the line of scrimmage in the backfield. Like Kenneth Gainwell was basically the workhorse in that.
Yep.
And Darnell Washington. So, you know, when you're getting a ton of yak, it's not so much that Mason Rudolph was making incredible plays. He was just putting the ball in their hands and letting them make the plays. I don't know. Let me put it to you this way. I don't know what the odds are of Aaron Rodgers leading the team, what the Steelers' percentage is of winning the Super Bowl. Let's say it's 5%. Okay, and that might be generous, but they have a 5% chance of winning the Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers under center. I would say with Mason Rudolph under center, it is less than that, obviously.
Oh yeah.
And so like I did my game day recap, and I said, I no matter what is going on, you know, Mason Rudolph comes in. I loved it. He played great. You know, they win the game, and that's all you can ask for from a backup quarterback getting thrown into the fire mid-game like that. But I don't want it to be like, oh, now we have to play Mason Rudolph because Rodgers has sucked for a few weeks. I think that's insane. I genuinely think that is a crazy stance to try and take. This is still Aaron Rodgers. Like you said, Tomlin's not going to bench him, and he should not bench him. This is not Kenny Pickett where he showed no flashes of being very good, and Mason goes out there and gets us to the playoffs. I don't think that that's the case. This is still Aaron Rodgers' team, and I think it would be insane to say that you need to play Mason Rudolph over him.
Yeah, for sure. And then, like, if you're Mike Tomlin, I mean, we know as fans, you know, Mike Tomlin and the Steelers also know they're not winning the Super Bowl with Mason Rudolph. You know, they know that.
Right.
They're probably not winning the Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers.
Exactly.
So no matter what it looks like, they're not going to just go to Mason Rudolph if Rodgers is healthy. It's just not going to happen.
Right.
Especially because it's most likely, it looks like it, at least up until this point. Who knows? But this could be Aaron Rodgers' final year. Mike Tomlin has enough respect for him and what he's done throughout his career to just sit him on the bench, no matter what is going on. So I don't see it happening. But I will say, Mason Rudolph is a guy who can give you a little spark, and he could win you a couple games. So I don't mind him taking over for the time being. Would I love to see Will Howard? Yes. That's the thing. What kind of leash do you think they're going to have on Mason Rudolph, Kev?
I don't think Will Howard is even in the equation. I still don't think he's even in the equation. And I tweeted today, it's just like, we know who Mason Rudolph is.
Yes.
Okay. And I'm not disrespecting him. We've had him on the show. Like, he's a nice dude. We talked to him. He's a good guy. I'm not trying to slight him at all, but we know who Mason Rudolph is. We know what is, to me, that's a dead end road. There's no route to greatness with Mason Rudolph as your quarterback. Now, that's not to say he's not a very good backup quarterback, because I think he's one of the best backup quarterbacks in football.
I would agree.
All due respect. I just, if they would have lost today, okay, if they would have lost today and the wheels start to fall off of this thing, I think at some point I would have much rather seen Will Howard over Mason Rudolph, just to know, if it's going to be a dead season, and you're not first place in the AFC North and it looks like it's fucking cooked, don't you want to know what Will Howard would give you before you get to the draft? That's the only thing. And it's not me saying I want to see Will Howard over Mason Rudolph, because I think that's crazy. I don't. Especially if Rodgers can come back. Obviously, Mason Rudolph gives you the best chance to win a game right now. But if it would go to shit, say they lose 3 of the next 4 games and the season's pretty much cooked, I would like to see Will Howard at some point in time.
Yeah, for sure. But I'm saying, like, let's say Rodgers is out a month. Let's just say 4. Let's say he's out 4 weeks. Let's just say he is.
Yep.
And Rudolph goes out there next week against the Bears and lays an egg. How quick do you think they would go to Will Howard?
I think it's going to depend on, okay, if they lose to the Bears, they're not going to Will Howard against the Bills. They're still going to give Mason Rudolph the look at that point in time. And then after that, I think it's going to depend. If you lose to then the Bills, I think if it comes down to if the season is off the rails, then maybe they go to Will Howard. So say they lose the next 2 games and Mason Rudolph looks like complete shit, then I think that there's a chance that they would go to Will Howard. But I would say right now it is a tiny sliver of a chance. I think that they're going to ride Mason Rudolph as long as they have to until Aaron Rodgers comes back.
And Rodgers, from what I'm hearing, he might even be able to go Sunday.
Sure. So it's his left wrist. So, and if he tried to come back into the game, it can't be that fucking bad. Yeah. Now, after the game, you see him in a brace as he's welcoming the guys to the locker room. He is in a brace. So I don't know how bad it can really be. How much you use your left hand as a quarterback other than for the snaps. Yeah. I don't fucking know, but I really want to see him play against the Bears, mostly because I want to see if he can bounce back first and foremost, because our season, like I said, if it's a 5% chance, even if it's a 1% chance with Aaron Rodgers at quarterback of the Steelers winning a Super Bowl, I want to see him bounce back. Yeah. And he's also a bear killer, Jerry. Historically, his career, he has been a bear killer his whole career. I want to see him play this weekend.
Yeah, me too. I would love to see it. I really would. Just what he's done throughout his whole career against the Bears, Yep. Even Big Ben up until the end, pretty much a Brown killer, Yep. His whole entire career. So I'd love to see Rodgers come back. One thing I will say, what I'm really disappointed in is just the receiving, the wide receivers, man, on offense. It has been so bad these last few weeks. Most of the year it's been bad. Let's face the facts. We've had a lot of production from guys like Darnell Washington and Pat Freiermuth, Jonnu Smith early on in the year. But these wide receivers, they're not good, man. They're just not playing. I don't know what it is. The scheme, if they just can't. Most plays, nobody's open. Yeah. And what pisses me off is there's coaches in the NFL with bad receiving cores. And they scheme guys to get open. Mm-hmm. So, what the fuck is going on, dude?
And it's worrisome because, if you don't get the production out of the tight ends, which we got it today, and tip the cap to Darnell Washington, Jerry, I don't even know if this is a hot take or, it's just we're excited because he had a great game. I think he's the Steelers tight end 1, Darnell Washington. What's up, guys? Just want to take a quick break to shout out our friends at Pond Lee Hockey, the new official sponsor of the Steel Here podcast. And they want to let you know that when life hits you hard, you need a team that fights for you just as hard as your favorite players. That's Pond Lee Hockey, Pittsburgh's largest work injury firm. They specialize in winning injury and workers' compensation cases and are ready to go to battle for every dollar you deserve. From start to finish, they're with you every step of the way. And the first step, a free consultation. No strings, just answers. If you've been hurt at work or in an accident, call Pond Lee Hockey today.
Yeah. And let's say this also. Can somebody give me some flowers here? I was wrong about the touchdowns, right? Okay, I was wrong. But I was right in the beginning of the year when I said they're going to use this motherfucker. This is going to be a big year. I was right.
Yes, absolutely. You did say he would have over 6.5 touchdowns, which is absolutely fucking insane.
Yes.
However, he is a threat, Jerry. And if he can get to the second level, we were talking about this on the phone. If he can get beyond the linebackers,
and you can't tackle him.
Oh my God, he ran over 3 guys on one play today.
Yeah.
I mean, that's that type of shit sets the tone on offense.
Yeah.
Between his size and power, I don't want to see him come off the field. I don't. I am in love with this fucking guy. To me, he's becoming one of my favorite players on the Steelers, maybe of all time. He is that impactful in my mind when you get him over the Jerry. He had over the 40 snaps again today. Now the Steelers now go to 9-0 when he plays.
That's a crazy stat, man.
That's not coincidence.
No.
2-0, 3-0, even 5-0, we'll say, all right, it could be coincidence. At 9-0, and it is their best performances offensively. I don't know, man. I am playing him 40 snaps no matter what. If Arthur Smith does not know that, Jerry, you might have to fucking send him a message because he has got to see his 40 snaps.
And I'll tell you what, his cardio is just fine. I mean, you think with a guy 300 plus, we wouldn't be able to use him as much. He's fine.
Yep, Jerry. What did they say when he was coming out? He didn't have good knees. He couldn't play a long career in the NFL because he doesn't have good knees. I don't. Again, knock on wood. I see nothing wrong with that fucking guy's knees. He's a weapon, Jerry. I love him. He has actually much better hands than I thought he would have coming out of Georgia. I don't know, man. I want to see that guy on the field. He's the best blocking tight end that we have. And when he's out there, now that he's a threat in the pass game, you can't just automatically key and think that it's going to be a run when he's on the field because he can fucking beat you in the passing game now.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, he's having an incredible year, man.
Mm-hmm.
It goes to show, wish we would have used him sooner,
Right.
Last year. Wish we used him a little bit last year,
Right, no shit.
But, other than that, man, as far as Darnell Washington goes, I think they have to figure out a way to just get him the ball,
right,
and get these targets, make him consistent, 6, 7, 8 targets a game for him. He's a guy who's going to fucking, feed off of that, get him downhill running a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't even mind. I'm surprised they haven't used it, The tush push today, we got it, but it looked really like we didn't get it.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I don't know that they got it. I don't know that they got it. The rolling originally was that they got it, and I think it was just one of those you can't overturn it. Yeah. But I don't know that they got that first time.
I wish they would just use him under center.
Yes. I mean, how you stopping that guy? You're not pushing him backwards.
No, he won't go backwards.
No. One thing I do want to note, Jaylen Warren, Jerry, when he is in the game, man, he is so electric to watch play football. We hyped him up every week, but he had 10 rushes for like 67 yards before he hurts his ankle today. That's 6-point-something yards a carry, 6.7 yards a carry. He is first man getting him on the ground is wildly impressive if it happens, because it is so rare that he doesn't make at least one person miss, even at the line of scrimmage. The difference between he and Kenneth Gainwell, I think, is that he has the ability to do, if at the line of scrimmage he's dead to rights, he can still get 1-2 yards out of it. Yeah. Kenneth Gainwell just doesn't quite have that elusivity, if that's a word. However, I rode Kenny Gainwell hard today just because there were points early in the game where you're seeing Kenneth Gainwell in the red zone, no Jaylen Warren. It's like, where the fuck is our most impactful player? He's not in there. And then Kenneth Gainwell goes out and he had a great game. So I'm not going to talk any shit about Kenneth Gainwell, but I really wish that they would use Jaylen Warren more in the red zone, in the passing game. He is so fucking good, Jerry.
I know. I wish that, his hands are pretty fucking good too,
Yes.
I wouldn't mind to see, fucking 5-6 targets for him in the passing game every game. I know they get him at like two times a game, 3 sometimes, but if they can get to like 5 or 6, him with the ball is just electric, man. It really is. So hoping this injury isn't serious. Hopefully he's back for the Bears game. We're gonna need him for that game.
Yes.
We need a lot of guys healthy for that game. So that's a big one. That's a really big game. I will say about the Bears, while their record is very good, I'm not saying it's they're a good football team. Sure. They have not beat anybody yet. Sure. I mean, they haven't beat anybody.
It's going to be Steelers usually don't play that well at Soldier, which is my first concern. But that's why I want Aaron Rodgers to be the quarterback, because he, like we said, he is a Bear killer. Yeah. He is very familiar with the Bears. He's not going to feel uncomfortable playing there. Caleb Williams, I think, is just so hot and cold, and I don't want to preview that game too much, but he is so hot and cold. I think that this is a game that the Steelers can win. I think the Bears are flying way higher than they actually are.
Me too.
And so it's going to be a fun game. But before we get into that, I do want to talk about Jalen Ramsey and Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
What an all-time scumbag Jamar Chase is.
He's a shit scumbag, bro. Fucking scumbag.
To say in his interview after his post-game interview, I didn't spit on anybody.
There's cameras everywhere.
And it's not, he didn't just it wasn't a little spit. It wasn't like
a loogie.
Yes. It wasn't like raindrop spit. This was full on fucking, looked like he spit milk on him.
Yeah.
And initially, when it happens, I'm pissed at Jalen Ramsey because he takes the unsportsmanlike the play before, and I'm like, man, reel it in. Like, this is the shit that his people that don't like him, that's what they wanted to say. He's crazy. He's gonna have these penalties. He's a nutcase. And so he takes that one. They both get him offsetting. I'm fine with that. You're jawing, and Jalen Ramsey says after, he's like, I love talking shit. It's part of the game. I enjoy doing that. And so whenever he draws that second one and they eject him, initially I'm pissed off, and people are tweeting me, it looks like he spit on him. It looks like he spit on him. When that image comes out where he really did spit on him, I don't have any animosity. What he did, I feel like, was, how could you not want to punch someone in the face?
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think Cam Hayward said it great too. At the end of the day, I mean, they're men, right. You're going to let somebody just spit on you, right. That's pretty fucking difficult. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's disrespectful as fuck, man.
Oh my God. Yeah, dude. So I am not mad at Ramsey. I hope Jamar Chase gets fined. I hope he gets suspended for a game. Mm-hmm. All-time fucking scumbag piece of shit. Also, he got put in a box today by James Pierre. He got put in a fucking box.
James Pierre, we gotta give him some love. This is the most excited I've been so far this episode, because James Pierre put a performance out there, and this is not just 1 week now. Okay, he played pretty goddamn well last week against the Chargers. Yep. He played pretty well against the Colts, making plays. Like, he's starting to string together some plays. And he said something that I loved in his post-game interview. He said, I've been waiting for this opportunity, and I've been thinking for years. I've been thinking about all the plays I didn't make a few years ago. Like, this guy is obsessing over it.
Love that.
Jerry, I thought there was one play where it's Jamar Chase streaking down the field, and James Pierre, stride for stride, right with him, turns his head around and bats the ball down. That's high-end cornerback play that I never thought James Pierre was capable of giving us. You have to give him his respect. The scoop and score right after Renegade plays. I've been hard on Renegade, Jerry.
Yeah.
They play Renegade, scoop and score, James Pierre, touchdown. I mean, everything went right today. Everything went right today. It's just one of those games where everything goes right for the Steelers. And so let's ask this, Jerry. Are you back in yet, or are you still out?
I'm teetering right now. We beat. If we could go out there on the road, tough environment, tough place to play, with or without Rodgers, and we get a win there. Yeah, I'm back. I mean, I'm big time back then.
I think I'm still out. I think I'm still out. I think I have to remain out. I think it is smart for me to stay out, because when we buy in, that's when they suck. So if I just keep talking shit and burying these guys and I stay out, I'm hoping that maybe the football gods just smite me in reverse. And so that's a good point.
It's a good point, Kev. Yeah, I mean, the thing is this, after that Ravens start, were they 1-5?
Yeah, 1-5.
If the Steelers can get to 7-4, and then, if we beat the Ravens the first time, We should probably win this division, man. We should probably win this division.
We beat the Ravens the first time, and we're in the driver's seat going to
That's
the
what I'm
final
saying.
season. Because the first one obviously is in Baltimore. I still think that's going to be tough. I would, like, on paper, I would still say we lose that game the first go round at it. I think we have a much better chance of beating them in Pittsburgh. But also that game, Week 18 in Pittsburgh, that if that does decide the division, that's basically a playoff game if that decides the division.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the playoffs.
So we need them to trip up. That's why if the Browns could have fucking handled business today, we would have had a nice little cushion again.
I know. I was watching that game closely too.
But I'm done with that shit. We need to handle our own fucking business. That's why we need to go to Chicago. We need to go to Chicago and beat the fucking Bears. Like it's if we want to get to where we want to get to, we shouldn't be begging teams in the division to lose for us to win the division at 9-8 or 10-7. We need to just go handle the business that needs to be handled.
Yeah. What about the Chiefs, Kev?
Jerry, they might miss the playoffs altogether. Like they have five. They're 5-5 now.
Crazy, dude.
They're splitting games in their division. Like their division record is shit right now.
I know. I didn't see that coming this year.
I love it. Every great dynasty has to fall at some point. And I fucking hated the Patriots. I hate the Chiefs. I hate all the Travis Kelce saga. I'm ready to see them lose. And they're finally showing that they're human and that they're falling off a little bit. I don't want to say that too loudly because they could very easily rattle off, 5-6 wins and make the playoffs and be a problem. But it is nice to see them lose, man. God, I'm so tired of seeing them fucking win.
I'll tell you what, I feel like if I had to pick, my Super Bowl winner right now, it'd probably be the Rams.
Yeah, they're a wagon, dude. They have great defense and great offense.
Yeah.
And they throttled the Seahawks today.
Yeah, they beat them up, bro. They beat them up for a lot of that game. I know they didn't win by a lot, but, they pretty much dominated that game.
Would Darnell have 4 interceptions?
4 picks, dude. The NFL this year is pretty wide open, man.
That's the thing, Jerry. You say if you had to pick a favorite, you could say the Eagles because they're the defending champs. Their offense has warts. Their offense is anemic. Yeah. Their defense obviously is great, but their offense is not very impressive to watch. No. I don't know that there's a sole, runaway favorite in the entire league. No. And so that's why, again, I don't think the Steelers have a great chance. Okay, I don't. However, you get in, you don't know just because it's the Bills have their issues. Patriots, we've already beaten the Patriots. Now, granted, we had the five takeaways when we play the Patriots, but we've beaten that football team. Yeah. The Broncos, I don't know that Bo Nix is as good as everybody thinks that he might be. So they're not the greatest football team, in my opinion. We just have to fucking win this division. We have to win this division and have a home playoff game. And then maybe Rodgers does, maybe we see the version of Rodgers. It's like, fuck it. This is it. I don't have to protect the football because it feels like he's being very protective with the football. Maybe you get just the fucking sling it, free for all, that type of Aaron Rodgers, because there were stretches today where I thought that was what Mason Rudolph actually did well. He at least took shots. You know what I mean? He was throwing balls even when it wasn't wide open guys. He was at least taking chances and giving them the ball. And I think that's something that normally Rodgers would do, and we haven't seen him do in a few weeks.
No, he hasn't, dude. He really hasn't. It's a tough year. It's a tough year to judge his play. Mm-hmm. It really is, because there's times where you're like, holy shit, he's still fucking got it.
Yep.
And then there's times where you're like, oh man, he's fucking old, man. He can't move for shit.
I think it's what you're going to get out of a 41-year-old quarterback.
Yeah.
He's still going to show you at times he has the special arm. He's still smart enough to read a defense. But at other times, he doesn't move well in the pocket, and he's scared. I just think that's, and I hate to say that about a guy as good as him, especially for how well he started the season, but he definitely needs to improve for us to get to where we want to get to. The defense can't just will us to victory every fucking week now, as they have the last couple of weeks. You're going to have to get a lot more better play out of the offense, especially Aaron Rodgers. But again, you said it, we don't have wide receivers getting open. So if it's not a tight end show and DK, Jerry, what are your thoughts? We'll do this again. We've asked this question a few weeks now. What are your thoughts on DK?
So far the contract looks horrible. Up to this point, it looks like a really bad contract. I don't know, man. I know he had those touchdowns in the beginning of the year, and then I was saying, that's enough to justify the contract so far,
Yep.
But he's getting no yards. He's not getting many targets. He dropped a bunch of balls this year already. He's average. He's wide receiver 1 making $35 million a year. What's he averaging? 45 yards a game?
I'm going to tell you. So I have him on my fantasy team, so I closely fucking monitor him. He has had 83, 20, 32, 126, 95. So I'm like, man, they're starting to get him going. 50, 55, 6, 35, 49. Our wide receiver one, that is the top 5 highest paid in football, has one game where he's eclipsed 100 receiving yards.
Yeah, it's not good, man. It's really, really not good at all. It's been a tough year for him. It really has. And I don't know if that's, hey, he's getting a little older, taking a step back now, or it's like, hey, I have nobody on this other side of the field to really help me out. I'm getting fucking double covered nonstop.
And I think it's a mix of both. I think it's a mix of both. I don't love the Steelers scheme yet again. And I made this comment today. For some reason, we've gone from Randy Feitner to Matt Canada, from Matt Canada to Arthur Smith. And yet at the beginning, maybe it looks a little bit different, but ultimately it molds into, with different quarterbacks even, you know, we're talking from Big Ben through Mitch Trubisky to Kenny to Mason Rudolph to Aaron Rodgers. It ultimately, their offense molds into what it looks like today. They are just not, they don't have, it's not impressive to me. It's boring football. They're very, very stale, boring offense that takes very little risks. You see, you know, nothing that would wow you at all. No. And so it's like, I don't know that Arthur Smith is, I hate saying this because he's a nice guy, but I don't know that he's very fucking good, Jerry. He's just unimaginative.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, like, you watch these other games, you know, fucking, you know, obviously you go to the games, but you're still watching other games.
Sure.
There's all the time you're saying you're watching games, you're like, damn, that was a fucking good ass play, you know?
Right.
Shit, that was a fucking cool design, you know, that was fucking sick. And then, you know, when it comes to Steelers, it's like, they do nothing cool. They do nothing interesting. They do nothing. It's like they're running these tosses or the running back in the flat or these screens or these little 5-yard out routes, and that's kind of it.
Mm-hmm. And that's
or a go ball.
and that's why for me it's like, I think that we have bigger issues. I think we have bigger issues than just the players on the field. And this sounds like we lost. It sounds like we lost the game, but you know, they won the game. That's awesome. You're going to be maybe without Aaron Rodgers. We'll see how this shakes out. But for me, I look at it every season, you know, by this point, especially, we've seen now 10 football games. We know exactly who they are. We know what they're going to give us. We know, you know, the expectations that I have for them, I've kind of put where I think is fair at this point. So when I'm watching them play, I'm trying to compare them against other teams in the NFL to say to myself, is it possible that the Steelers can reel off 3 or 4 wins in a row, get hot, make a run in the playoffs? With this offense, I think we're going to have to really see them change the way that you need to see another wide receiver, in my opinion. I think you got to, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, you need to get in there because they have no other weapon. Like, and we've said this for weeks now. Calvin Austin brings very little to the table right now. Roman Wilson, you know, brings very little to the table right now. You don't have anything else. You don't have anything else.
No.
And so if you're not going to have another wide receiver, how the fuck do you expect this offense to improve?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, they can't really, you know, they got the guys to do it. You know, like they have Calvin Austin to stretch the field, right? And they just don't do that.
You know what's crazy? We haven't seen him run a deep go ball, I don't think, this season. I don't think that they've taken a deep shot to him this season.
Yeah, no, you had that Rodgers one down the sideline that Calvin scored on, but that was like, what, 30 yards?
Right. And
that wasn't really like a shot, you know?
Right. You're not seeing them. And maybe it's because they just don't want to let that play develop because it takes a while to let them get that far downfield. But you're just not seeing them run, you know, risky plays. They just don't run many risky
And everything
plays.
is short of the sticks. I mean, everything is short of the sticks.
Right.
And it doesn't matter what down it is either. They throw short of the sticks on first, second, and third down.
And I this is something that I want to see them start to do is when they're anywhere, you know, near the 40 on either side of the 40, I think that they need to start playing 4 down territory all the time there. I just think that you're going to have to, your offense is not good enough. So when you get to that range, I think you're going to have to start taking some risks.
Yeah.
And on third down, I think you need to start preparing as if, look, we have 2 downs here to get the first down.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the thing.
You have to start thinking that way because I just don't know that this offense is good enough to churn out enough first downs or like consistent enough drives to really win. And I'm not saying against teams like the Bengals. I'm talking about when we play teams like the Bills or the Lions, where you're going to have to put the ball in the end zone in order to win the fucking football game. Your best bet is to start just coaching significantly more aggressive than they do right now. You get in that range, you need to be thinking, all right, let's get this thing to 4th and 2, 4th and 3, and then continue to go from there. What's up, guys? Just want to take a quick second to shout out our friends over at TickPick. You guys see me at the games. You see the seats that I have, the experiences that I get to enjoy, and that's all because of TickPick. If you're looking on the secondary market for tickets to a Steelers game and you're not using TickPick, you're honestly probably paying more than you should have to. There are no fees. It's upfront pricing, and you can use code STEELERS20 for $20 off your first order of game tickets. They're the best in the game, in my opinion, and I want you guys to be able to take advantage of how good their product is. So use TickPick moving forward. Let's get back to the episode.
What's weird to me is like they have been starting games on offense very fast and very good.
I know.
This whole year. And then after that first drive, it's like kind of stalls.
Falls apart. They did it again today. They come out hot and then they only score 3 more points going into the half.
Yeah.
Kyle Duggar, Jerry.
Big play.
We were worried maybe the Steelers don't add any impactful players at the deadline. I think it's safe to say he's been pretty impactful. In the 3 games he's played, I feel like he has been really, really fucking good. And today he has the pick 6.
Yeah, he's been all over the place, dude. I think that was a massive pickup for the Steelers. Needed it. Yeah. Deshaun Elliott goes down and you pick up him. He's been great, man. He's been really fucking good, too. And, it's nice to see him get rewarded with a nice little touchdown. He deserves it. He's been balling out. Back there, so happy for him. He's a big addition. I don't know what the deal is with Deshaun Elliott. What is nothing has been said, anything.
Still no updates. Updates on that.
It's weird.
I really, really hope that they do get him back, because I still think that their best version of defense is being able to move Ramsey around. While I love him in that safety spot, I still would like to see him play a little bit of corner. In certain situations, I think he's still capable of doing it. Yeah. Jerry, we did not have Alex Highsmith again. He is injured. He gets injured, hurts his pec some point in practice this week. He doesn't practice. He doesn't suit up. He's now missed 11 games in the last 2 seasons. But what it does is it opens the door for Nick Herbig, who only played like 20-some snaps the last time we played the Bengals. Yeah. And he had four pressures in his 20-some snaps last time, while TJ and Highsmith only had 2 total. And he goes out there today, and yet again, he is the Pittsburgh Steelers' most impactful pass rusher. They have to figure out, even when Highsmith is healthy, how the fuck to get Nick Herbig on the field consistently. Jerry, he's a weapon every time.
Yeah, it's crazy that like Tomlin and Terrell Austin, they don't realize that by now, and you're right. They play the contract, man. That's just what they do. They play the contract.
Yep.
They play the guy who makes the money. Yep. But Nick Herbig has proved enough. He deserves a contract after this year. Yep. I hope the Steelers give it to him. Alex Highsmith, yes. In the beginning of his career, yes, he was healthy, but these last couple of years have been rough for him.
Yeah,
I know he had a big game a couple games ago, but they're few and far between. Mm-hmm. Nick Herbig is a guy who you can rely on. He's going to make you one big play a game, a minimum. One big play a game. Made a couple great plays today. I love having him on the field, and it looks like he's so undersized, but he just makes so many good rushes, man.
So fucking fast. And you know why I like him? There are times whenever, TJ's obviously... And TJ has not had a great year. That's just I'm not going to say much else about it. Everybody knows we're not going to bury him. He just hasn't had a great year. No. But there are times when it's TJ on one side and Highsmith on the other side, and you go through long lulls where Highsmith is not winning his singles. Okay, TJ is getting doubled. He's getting doubled into oblivion. He's chipped. He has fucking double teams to beat after a chip. Highsmith needs to win those, and he doesn't as much as I feel like he should. And yet Herbig, I feel like he does. I feel like when it is TJ is making nearly no impact, you're still getting high impact pass rush out of Nick. Yeah. And that for me is why, man, I said this and I got a lot of pushback on it, because I said at the end of this season, I think you have to trade Alex Highsmith. He's going to be your most high stakes player that you can trade, in terms of return value.
Yeah.
And I've mentioned this to you. I don't see a world where the Steelers want to let Nick Herbig walk. And if they do, I think that is a colossal mistake. I think that's a fucking terrible decision. But I also don't see a world where you want to pay 3 edge rushers high money. And so one of them is the odd man out, Jerry.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm with you. I would not like to see Nick Herbig go.
No.
And, we appreciate Alex Highsmith for the years, but, it's just a part of the game. It's a part of business,
Yeah.
And I'm not saying Alex Highsmith's contract was terrible. I don't think it was a terrible contract.
No,
I just think Nick Herbig, I think he's going to get even better, in the offseason after this year, get him more experience this year. Obviously, we got games down the stretch, a bunch of games left, hopefully a couple of playoff games. But I think Nick Herbig is ready for the challenge. And if I had to pick today, I would pick Nick Herbig over Alex Highsmith.
Without a doubt. I don't even think that's a hot take. It's not a hot take. I think you're crazy if you would choose Alex Highsmith over Nick Herbig. And the Highsmith fans will defend and say he's a better run stopper. I think it's a lot closer than people want to give it, as far as Herbig Highsmith comparisons, as far as stopping the run are concerned. One thing I do want to say, though, because many people will tweet me back and they'll say things like, I think you can pay all three of them. Why couldn't you? You don't have a quarterback contract on the books. Yes, I think fiscally they could pull it off. You could definitely pay them because you don't have a quarterback contract on the books. Yeah. We do have some room going into next season. I think it's possible to pay all three of them. Two issues with that. One, would you not much rather just pay one of them opposite of TJ and then bring in a nice wide receiver on the other side? Yeah. I would much rather spend a little bit more money on the offensive side of the ball. For once, man. For once, can we fucking bring some playmakers on that offense? And two, if you pay all three of them and it still looks like the same type of rotation it is now, where Highsmith gets the first bite at it and Herbig is, he rotates in here and there. I don't love that. I do not love that. No. I want to see Herbig get significantly more reps than he gets whenever Highsmith is healthy.
Yeah, I agree. Because there's been times where they have done, TJ Highsmith and Herbig on the field at the same time, but that's few and far between as well. It's not like they're doing it 15, 20, 30 times a game. Right. It's more like 3 times a game they'll do that, 4 times a game. You know what I mean? Right. They don't do that a bunch. So I'd much rather, it also depends, how this year plays out. But up until this point in the year, if the season ended today, I would say Nick Herbig should get paid in the offseason and be your starting edge on the other side of TJ.
Yeah, I agree. And that's ultimately what I want to see happen. Another thing that I want to see happen, I would really like to see Jonnu Smith get going at some point. Jerry, I just feel like I don't even know if he's impactful for us. You know what I mean? If we don't have other wide receivers.
I don't know how many snaps he has. He's been getting.
He was the one tight end that they said could play more of like a bigger wide receiver role. Yeah. And he doesn't really make an impact yet. I don't know if it's just misuse or he just hasn't gotten on the same page as Aaron Rodgers, but I really would like to. He's a good fucking tight end. Yeah. He's a great pass catcher. He's fast for a tight end. I would really like to see him get a little bit more shine on the offensive side of the ball here.
Yeah, me too, dude. It's just, the only consistent usage this year is Darnell Washington at the tight end position. And you've seen Jonnu earlier in the year get the snaps over Freiermuth, and now that has flipped.
Yep.
Freiermuth is getting those snaps now. So, I don't know, man. It's been up and down, the way they run that offense this year. It's very weird with the guys they have on the field. Some games they don't. Arthur Smith, I guess that's what he's known for. He's shown it in Tennessee. He's shown it in Atlanta. Yeah. This is kind of just what he does, and I don't really agree with most of it, but hey, who knows? I don't know.
He was a nice safe hire is what I've come to realize about Arthur Smith. Low, again, very similar to Mike Tomlin, in my opinion. Very low ceiling.
He's the white Mike Tomlin.
He's a high, right. Low ceiling, high floor. Low ceiling, high floor is what you're going to get out of him. He's good enough, to beat up on, some of the middle of the road teams, but I don't think that he has the capacity to put together an incredible offensive scheme against much better teams. And we're going to play some good teams here these next 4 weeks. It's going to get really, that might be one of our last cupcakes until this Dolphins game was today. And so this is where they really are going to have to kick it into overdrive.
What's the next 4? They got the Bears. Bills.
They come home to the Bills. I want to say then we have the Dolphins, Steelers schedule here.
Lions?
Well, it's Ravens. It's actually Bears, Bills, Ravens, Dolphins, Lions, Browns, Ravens.
Oof. Wow.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. That's
these next 5 are. Oof.
That's why you need Rodgers to get healthy.
Yeah.
That's why you need Rodgers to get healthy, and also maybe if he does sit out a week, maybe he just needs a reset week, because he doesn't look as interested as he.
Yeah, maybe he needs a little extra bye,
Right. So if you can get Mason Rudolph to go out there and win you one fucking game in a pinch in Chicago, which would be nice. He's done it in the past. He's proven he can win. Okay. He's proven he can fucking win. I think we would have to have a great game out of the defense again if that were going to be the case. But ultimately, Jerry, a month ago, I wanted to bury everything associated with this defense. But today, they held that Bengals team that put up 33 on us a month ago today. They held them to 12 points, and Jamar Chase was nearly useless. He had 30 yards. That is remarkable turnaround compared to what we had. It started ugly though. They come out and score on their first fucking. We score. They come out and fucking score. I'm like, Jesus, man, they just are never going to be able to get better if this is what it ends up being.
No.
And then they went lockdown from there. So I do want to tip my cap to the defense, and we need to give them some respect, some credit, because the last few weeks I feel like they've played much better football. Yeah,
definitely. The last few weeks, the defense is really. Seems like they turned a corner a little bit on the defensive side of the ball.
Agreed.
So credit to them. They were getting slaughtered, and media, everybody's trashing them. They've turned it around a little bit. Maybe that's what they needed. To get smashed all over the internet, because they see that shit, bro, all over the internet, all over TV. Fucking maybe that's what they needed. That little fucking, all right, we'll show you, So I'm happy with that side of the ball. Offense got to step up. And do their part now.
Isn't it funny how the things have flipped? Early in the season, I thought the offense was plenty good enough and the defense just couldn't get it figured out. Now the offense is kind of lethargic and the defense is starting to find their stride. Yeah. I'm just praying. I'm praying to God over these next 7 games that they can somehow become cohesive enough as a unit to actually play a complete football game.
Yeah.
Like I want to say something and I don't have much else to say this episode, but people constantly will tweet me and say, it's dead. Even though they're 6-4, it's dead. Like what do you care about? And I probably deep down would agree. They're not winning a Super Bowl, and I don't think that makes me not a diehard fan to say that. However, at one point, I've watched the Pittsburgh Steelers fall to 7-5 after losing 3 games in a row, and then reel off 8 straight to win a Super Bowl.
Exactly.
So deep down in my heart as a fan, there are things like that will, I remind myself of that. You just never know. If Rodgers gets hot and somehow they fucking figure out how to do it in this last 7 games, I don't ever want to roll it out especially when you're in first place after 10 games in the division.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's why. What
do they say? Yeah. What do they say in poker? Chip in a chair, right?
100%.
Just get to the dance and see what happens.
You never know.
I don't care how they get there. Just get to the dance.
Right. I want a home playoff game. I would
love that. Yeah.
I would do unspeakable things for a home playoff game.
Yeah, man.
And it starts Sunday in Chicago, Jerry. We have to it's your home state. We need good vibes in Chicago, Jerry.
I hate this fucking state. I hate this state.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's my favorite state.
No.
But if they go out there and fucking win this game, then Jerry, maybe then I would say, all right, I can somewhat buy back in. But for right now, this team sucks. They're not going anywhere. We're not winning anything. It's fuck Mike Tomlin. It's fire Mike Tomlin. It's Art Rooney needs to make a decision and move on from this. And until they do prove that they are a different football team, I'm still standing on that side of the aisle.
Hey, I don't blame you, Kev.
Appreciate the shit out of you guys. Like, comment, subscribe, continue to share the show where you find it. Anything else you want to add to this episode, Jerry?
No, dude, pumped for Sunday, bro. I wish tomorrow was Sunday. I wish we were playing tomorrow. I want to see them. I want to see this defense against Ben Johnson and that offense. I want to see, because Ben Johnson, I mean, one of the best play callers there is. I'm excited to see this defense against him. I'm also excited to see whoever's at quarterback. If it's Rudolph, see if he can go win us a football game.
And this is the point of the season where the cream rises to the top. And so you need to start finding who you are. You need to start gelling as a team. And if you're going to make a run, it starts to begin now. And so you need to start stacking these wins, and we need to start building on the wins that we do have. So we're going to find out. We'll record again Wednesday. We're recording with Big Cat. I'm pretty sure this is the episode we're going to record with Big Cat this week for the Bears. So that will be fun. We will put that episode out on Thursday, so you guys can keep an eye out for that one. But we appreciate it. We'll see you again here this week.
All right, Kev. I'll see you guys.
Later, Jer.
We're here. We're still here.
We are still here.